is like grunt style, but different. Literally, it's all made in-house by the owner. Battle Cat Company is literally a one-man show. All right, so if you want to support a small business, I was like, I'm not against that, right? Everybody likes supporting small businesses. He makes cool T-shirts, gun type stuff. Let me go check it out. So anyways, I went to Battle Cat Company, to put in Battle Cat Company, search it, battlecatcompany.com. And you'll see the boy has got some awesome designs, T-shirts, hats, patches, stickers. And the cool part is, you go to any gun range and everybody's wearing grunt style, or everybody's wearing Black Rifle Coffee T-shirts and everything. And that's cool, right? 9-line apparel. Everybody's wearing theirs, Ranger Up, all this, that, and the other. Okay, you want to wear something different? Battle Cat Company. Go check their stuff out, man. Go check it out. Check it out. All right, so here's the deal. We are going to hang out. We're going to have us a good live stream tonight. I've gotten all that out of my system. And I got my cup of coffee here. And I went with the big cup so we can stay a little bit longer tonight. But we won't. We won't stay that long. That's my wife's pet name, Battle Axe. Oh, hi, I saw what you did there. Dude, your wife is going to kick that ass. She really is. She's going to kick that ass, dude. Not what you want. Not what you need. Not what you need at all. All right, so what do you guys want to talk about, right? You guys know the deal. You have questions. That's the whole point of doing a live stream, is it's an opportunity once a week for me to hang out with you guys, all right? You guys send questions, put them in the chat room. You notice I have a super chat turned on. So if you want to make a small donation to the preservation of Carl Erickson Foundation, click super chat, and then I'll actually see your question. You don't have to do super chat. You don't have to. I prefer you to throw me some money so I can buy more coffee. All right. But you don't have to, not at all. You send a question, and what happens is you put a good, decent question in the chat room. And what our moderators do, like she just sent me one. This one here is from Semper Paratus. I recently installed a Radian Talon 45-degree safety selector on my main tool. Love it. I wouldn't have been allowed to use one as a 13 Fox in GWAT, but would you high-speed SF guys? Yeah, we basically, within the whole thing is, with it in the gun, nobody's going to see that you even have it in the gun. And while you're working the selector lever, I personally prefer a 45-degree also. The problem, I never used the Radian one, but I run a 45-degree on my my tier 1 rifle. It's part of the Tactical Edge Advanced Combat Trigger. It's awesome, but understand that is not a full auto trigger, and our M4s have full auto on them. So I've never seen a 45-degree full auto. I don't know. I don't know if we would run that or not. Honest, it is what it is. They're sexy. I like it. My personal work on, I do love it. I do love it indeed. So decent question. Next question is from Shammy313. Dude, your mom must have had a bunch of kids. She's naming you after cleaning equipment and then having to number you still. Wow. All right, Carl, for an EDC pistol, are iron sights better than a red dot due to not taking up more space, air to the optic? Now, honestly, guys, if you look at, and I'm not allowed to play with guns, but basically, most of you guys run an RMR, so I will RMR. Your sights are that tall, all right? Your iron sights on your pistol are that tall, so you're only raising it up just a little bit more. Here's the deal, guys. Back in the 90s, early 90s was when red dot optics showed up for rifles. I know they had been around since first red dots were actually used on the Sante raid in Vietnam, but they really caught on. They became the latest hotness in the early 90s. And a lot of the older SF guys, I just got my Green Beret, first A-team, all these red dots showed up. And the older guys at Team Song's like, no, glass breaks, batteries die, stick with iron sights. And our A-team only got 2 of them. So I was like, oh, shit, I'll take one, right? And it was an open emitter, old reflex sight, and it was okay. It wasn't as good as like an EOTech or aim points or modern red dots, but it was better than just iron sights. Fast forward, there's a reason why every rifle has got a red dot optic on it for combat. Home defense, truck gun, whatever it is, everybody's running red dot optics, and you should, because they have become very reliable and they bring a lot to the table. They really do. Much, much faster getting rounds on target. The same thing with pistols. Pistol optics sucked for a long time. And then you had the J point and the Doctor optic, which is basically all a Trijicon RMR is a hardened copy of the old J point. Not bashing Trijicon. Just Trijicon really has not updated it since 2005, 2000, they just haven't updated it. Fast forward, and I said this about 5 years ago, that all combat pistols need to have a light on them. All combat firearms need to have a light on them and an optic. But I also said about 5 years ago, hey, all combat pistols need to have a red dot optic on it with an enclosed emitter. Kind of important to me. What I mean by that, guys, is here's an RMR that everybody loves. The problem with the RMR, just like that original reflex sight that was on my rifle back in the 90s, is, let me use my pen here, the emitter that actually projects your light is this little window right down in here. And it's exposed to the elements. You get one drop of rain come down, hit that, washes out your light. Snow, mud, you're screwed. You don't have your dot anymore. You just don't. So, and we had the same problem with rifles. So what they did was they enclosed the emitter, hence the birth of your your aim points and your EOTechs, your holographic weapon sights. Same thing's been done to a pistol, all right? So basically, Holosun, being the good Chinese that they are, they reverse engineered a RMR and made it better. It's got a solar window on top, shake awake, everything else. Side-mounted battery, so you don't have to take it off your optic, take it off your pistol to replace the battery. Holosun, hands down, beat the hell out of the RMR. But it still had the exposed emitter. They listened to feedback. It needs to have an enclosed emitter. This is the 507, hence the birth of the 509. So all of my pistols have lights on them, but all of my combat pistols, including my EDC pistol, has a 509 with an enclosed emitter. My backup, my church pistol, has the 507K with the Vulcan reticle in it. Still has the Vulcan reticle. Now, why am I running an exposed emitter on my church pistol, my backup? Because they don't make one with an enclosed emitter yet. As soon as they do, I will replace it. So yeah, guys, I don't mean to be long-winded, but this is important. Come take one of our pistol classes and or come shoot with me on a Sunday afternoon. We shoot every Sunday, 2 p.m. after church. And you just can't, for combat shooting, I understand everybody gets good at lining up their sights, their iron sights, and putting them on the middle of that paper dot, and they pull the trigger, and everybody can group that big on paper. But as soon as I put you on, as soon as I put you on steel plates, all of a sudden you suck again. Why do you suck again? Why? Well, because you're too busy focusing on the steel. You want to see the steel get knocked down. You get good shooting steel by teaching yourself not to look at the steel. You need to look at those iron sights on your pistol. You get good at shooting steel. The problem with that is as soon as we start doing force on force, all of a sudden you suck again. And the reason for that is when you go into fight or flight, it is very, very hard to not take your focal plane off of the bad guy. It's you pull it back to your iron sights. Now, units that train a lot, right? Delta, hostage rescue units, stuff like that. And a lot of them still have problems with, but the ones that train a lot, what you've got to teach yourself to do for combat shooting is, all right, I have the target. I focus on the bad guy. Is it a threat? Is it not a threat? If it is a threat, does it work deadly force? If it does, I then move my focal plane back to the sights on my pistol or my rifle if you're running iron sights. Roll through the trigger, round goes off. Did I hit? Did I get the desired effect? Is there anyone else that needs love? Now, think about that. Did I hit? Can you tell that by focusing on your sights? No, you have to quickly move your focal plane back to the bad guy. Did I hit? If you didn't, you need to move the focal plane back to the sights again. If you did I get the desired effect? If you didn't, you have to move the focal plane back to the sight picture, engage again. So that's the key to combat shooting with iron sights is, and the only real way to do it is a lot of force on force. UTM, simunitions, stuff like that. It's very, very hard to train to the level where you need to be to constantly be moving that focal plane back and forth. That's why everyone loves red dots on their rifles, because you don't have to move your focal plane back to your iron sights on your rifle. You don't have to. You can stay focused on the bad guy, put the red dot, because you're still focused on the bad guy, put the red dot on the bad guy, pull the trigger. It's the same thing with a pistol. So unless you're going to train force on force all the time, I recommend everybody go to pistol. Why haven't we gone to pistols for a decade? Well, because the guys that start doing force on force a lot, you're not just on a flat range doing pew-pew. You start pieing doorways and around vehicles and under cars. What ends up happening is gravity is hitting your arms different, and you can't find your dot. How is it different from a rifle? Well, a rifle, you've got, instead of one point of contact on the pistol, you have 4 points of contact on a rifle. You still have that pistol grip. You've got the stock in the shoulder, hand up front, but you also have that cheek weld, and that cheek weld centers the eye behind the pistol, behind the red dot. So how do we do that with a pistol? And a lot of people have a hard time finding their dot. They really do. And that's why guys, I can't tell you how much I love this Vulcan reticle. Let me find you a Vulcan reticle on one of these. They're almost all mounted on my gun. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that, but if you lose that dot, guys, you see the edge of the circle, turn it, and it's very, very hard to lose that dot with that big outer circle. Now it drinks batteries. I got that, but it helps you find that dot so much quicker. All right. So I see Susan's sending us a bunch of questions. Guys, I didn't mean to vent on y'all earlier. I really did not. Let's see. Call for, we already did that one. That's the one I just burnt to the ground. Michael Kuda. Forgot the guy's name, but did you check on the Canine trainer? Travis Hall. Yeah, guys, I checked on Travis, and basically what Travis has told me is he is still good to go to do our medical class we've got coming up in a couple months, and that he is putting off his surgery. So I don't know any more details than that. I didn't want to pry, but I asked him how he was doing. He says, Carl, I'm good. Now, good means he's able to function, but understand Travis is, he's got his nonprofit, his Second Chance Canine, where they rescue Belgian Malinois, basically the military working dogs. and retrain them to make them good support dogs. And Travis needs love, guys, because these dogs are, you understand, a Velociraptor is basically a Belgian Malinois is basically a Velociraptor. It has got so much energy. If you're not giving it nonstop attention, it goes downhill fast. So he's got to put a lot of work into these things here. Salad dressing, threw down 10 bones. Cheers, y'all. Thank you, Salad. I appreciate that. The Gus Stash 2531 threw down 5 bones. Sir, for shit hits the fan situation, do you store antibiotics, and how would you acquire them? Lastly, would you use them past their expiration date? All right, twofold. We'll do the first one. Yes, store antibiotics. There are certain key ones that you should have. You should always use broad spectrum antibiotic. Z-Pack, for example, it's actually starts with an A, but it's basically, they call it a Z-Pack, but it's azithromycin, and it's not any more awesome than anything else. It's not, but you only take pills for 6 pills, 2 pills the first day. And then I want to say it's 1 pill for 4 more days or 5 more days after that. 4 more days. So you're only taking pills for 4 days, 5 days, where like amoxicillin or something like that, you've got to take pills for 10 days. Well, that to most people makes it sound as though azithromycin is stronger. It's not. The reality is you're doubling it up the first day, and what that's doing is that's that loading dose, getting it in your bloodstream. But azithromycin is one of those things that your liver has a hard time getting out of your bloodstream, and it stays in your bloodstream for 10 days. So it's the same as you taking 10 days of amoxicillin. All right, Cipro, and there's all kinds of Rocephin, there's all kinds of other good antibiotics. Now you'll see the prepper crowds talk about they call them fish antibiotics that you can order off the internet. Guys, if that's the only way you can get antibiotics, that's fine. But chances are you all know a vet, or better yet, you know a doctor. And here's my thing is I know a bunch of doctors. I went to go on a trip. I was going to go overseas, and I was actually on my way to Ukraine. Not here recently. This was 2015. And basically 2015, I remember the whole war started 2014 over there, right? So 2015, I roll into Ukraine. Well, wanting to go over there, I went to my doc and say, look, I need this, this, and this. He's like, those are all required prescription. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm going overseas where there's no freaking doctors, by the way. And I promise I will call you on my sat phone and ask you here's my signs and symptoms. What should I take? And I'll only take if you tell me to take it. But this way I don't have to try to find a pharmacy in the middle of Africa or Ukraine or wherever it is. I lied to him that said that I was going to. And he said, well, against my better judgment, okay. Sure, it's a heart attack. He wrote me for 1 dose of everything. And the cool part is I'm friends with doctors. I was a special forces medic. I understand they allow me a little bit of leeway. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law's fiance, she just orders the shit off the internet. You can. It comes in from Canada, China, wherever. I don't care. You can do it. You can do it. It's not hard. So I'm not real big on using fish antibiotics. Do they work? Yeah, I'm sure they would. There are people that will say, well, I won't use generic drugs. I'll only use the real brand. I disagree with that because you can save a lot of money using the generic drugs right now. A good example of that is Motrin is the actual commercial name, and Motrin costs more than generic ibuprofen. All right. But you understand ibuprofen is the exact same thing. The Food and Drug Administration makes them make it too standard. Same thing with antibiotics. So save some money, go with the generic. A lot of your snowbirds, whenever they go to Mexico, they go across the border. Right next to the pharmacy will be a little doctor's office. You go in with your piece of paper. My mother-in-law wanted some like wrinkle cream, and my father-in-law wanted some amoxicillin and everything. Signed a little piece of paper. The doctor charged me, I think, $20. I go to the pharmacy. They charge me the drugs. Bring it right across the border. That was Yuma, Arizona. Across the border in Yuma into Sigonella. No. That's I don't remember the name of the town there. Anyways, it doesn't matter. They are used to the snowbirds bringing drugs back across the border. They're not illegal. You just have to have a prescription for them. So get drugs, guys. Now, as far as drugs being expired, it varies by drug. What I mean by that is Motrin, morphine does not have an expiration date. It doesn't. Will last you forever. Some drugs will last you forever. You might get a drop in potency, but what they do is they will take lot numbers and they will test them for strength, and then, hey, it's still strong enough, and they will blast the email out to every pharmacy on the planet. That lot number of Tylenol is still potent enough, and they will adjust the expiration date. In the military, we had big bottles of like 10,000 Sudafed, or I think it's 3,000 Tylenol to a bottle. And the expiration date was crossed out, and then it was written. That one was crossed out. The next one was written, crossed out, and the battalion med shop would keep adjusting it. And now, the caveat to that is understand some drugs don't just get weak. They actually get dangerous. Tetracycline is a good example. Tetracycline, if it goes bad, it can actually get toxic, basically turn to poison. So be careful. Honest, do your research drug by drug. And some antibiotics, erythromycin, stuff like that, I've used them past expiration dates on my Jordanians and stuff overseas, but I've never had to do it on an American. We always get good stuff for you Americans. We try to take care of Joe. All right, I apologize, guys. Good questions tonight. All right. Jonathan Frappier, did you hunt deer this past season with your TR1? If yes, what are some key positives and negatives from using the TR1 for hunting? I did not hunt with my TR1. My TR1 is my work gun, and it is zeroed for 62 grain. And I don't hunt with 62 grain. I don't do it. So my TR1 would stay in my truck with my kit. If I really don't want to go down that rabbit hole with you guys. I'm not going to do it. I keep a set of kit, including body armor, in my vehicle in case I get phone calls from certain people and they expect me to show up and save the day. No, I usually deer hunt with 7.62, and I love the deer hunt with 7.62. Yeah, I've actually gotten probably more deer with a bow, but I have not bow hunted since 2005. But I used to bow hunt deer a lot. But see, the problem with bow hunting after the towers fell, it's hard to come home from a deployment where you've been in a combat zone 4 months, 5 months, 7 months, however long it was, and come home and tell your wife, yeah, honey, I missed you. I love you. I missed you so much while I was gone, but I got home and it's October. That's bow season, and I know I missed you. I want to spend time with you. You want to spend time with me, but I'm going to go sit by myself in a tree with my bow and wait for a deer to walk by. You see how it's hard to do that. So I really have not bow hunted much since the towers fell. I tried to keep doing it the first couple of years, but after a while we were just gone so much I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, guys. Right. All right. Yes, Susan, I will get to that for sure. All right. Susan wants me, she's reminding me to talk about the class in Texas. All right. What is your opinion on CZ's acquisition of the Colt Holding Company? Here's the deal, guys, is Remington got bought out by Cerberus. Cerberus is a big hedge fund out of New York City, corporate America. They became part of Freedom Group that also had Henry rifles and AAC suppressors. And it just wasn't a good thing for any of those companies. But Remington needed to be rescued. And same thing, Colt, right? Because everybody knows Colt. Colt's been making M16 since the dawn of frickin' time. Knight Armament Company down in Titusville, Florida, has got more computerized CNC machines than Colt's got in Connecticut. So Colt needs to be rescued. So CZ, which is a good gun company, guys, it is. CZ is a good gun company. If they have acquired Colt, so be it. So be it, because Colt let us down. You understand, a lot of these companies, they get the really big government contract and then they don't care anymore. They don't upgrade. They just don't want to upgrade anymore. They're content with that. Their shareholders are content. You got to modernize, guys. All right. Wow, I got a bunch more coming in. Sammy313, Carl, I know you love your SR25, but you were also issued an M4. Did you ever use your M4 or a 10.5 inch on ops instead of the SR25? There were a few ops that I would use an M4 on. And then once I made, obviously, Company Sergeant Major, I was not running an SR25 anymore, but I'd still go out on ops. Was a good picture. This right here, guys, that is me. And if you look at this gun, you'll see I've got a night scope clipped on in front of a low power variable. And I've also got a longer custom upper on it. And but that's my M4 lower. It was completely tricked out. Now, if I wasn't going to be hunting, that was a rural area hit. We were actually landing on the Y. We weren't landing right at the building. And it was kind of a rural area. So I brought an upper that would allow me to reach out a little bit further. But normally I would just run my 10.5 inch. And it was always good enough for me. Good enough for me. All right. All right. What's one thing that Susan's hinting at, guys, is I've got some courses coming up, and I was looking at my calendar, and it dawned on me I haven't promoted these classes at all. So if you guys are interested in doing some spring training, I've actually got classes that are just a couple weeks away. It is March. I want to say it's late March, mid to late March. I'm sorry, 6 March. 6 March, so I guess we'd call that early March. 6 March at the Montgomery County Shooting Complex here in Tennessee, just south of Fort Campbell. You can fly into Nashville, you can drive in, whatever. 6 March is Combat Pistol 101. 7 and 8 March are Combat Pistol Carbine. And then the 9th, we're doing this new class called Just the Tests. Now, basically, if you've ever been to our pistol carbine classes, you know we have a list of what we call our critical task evaluations. You guys can see them, you dig them up in our video archive. I've got videos on every one of those tests. Well, if you come take our pistol carbine course, you get copies of all of those task condition standards. Well, guys will get good at them, but they can't get great at them. And so we came up with a one-day course. It's called Just the Tests. And it's not just about those tests. It's about any task, basically. And what we do is we basically teach you, all right, you want to get better at this skill, break it down step by step, but here's how you focus on it. You're going to do this at such a speed, and then this at such a speed, and then this at such a speed, and you're going to adjust it, and then you're going to have this max speed as fast as you can go, and then you have basically what a lot of people call their competition speed. It's like, hey, this is actually, I'm not trying to just see how fast I can go where I'm going to fail. I need to do it for real. I'm not allowed to miss. This is how fast I can go. So anyways, that class is on the 9th of March. Again, 6, 7, 8, and 9 March here at Montgomery County Shooting Complex. A great place to train, good classroom, everything. Now, specifically the one that Susan's talking about is the last few days of March. I had classes scheduled in Texas. And unfortunately, for everybody, I had a bunch of guys that signed up for those courses, and I lost the range. I couldn't keep the range where the range was. I had to find a new range. We're going to be holding at a place called Range 35. It's a very, very nice range. It's got a great classroom. My patrons that came and did our Patreon course back in November, Range 35 was one of the ranges that we use there. Fieldcraft Survival runs classes there. It's good. It's not open to the public. It is just for like law enforcement, military training, but they're allowing me to rent the entire facility to run my classes there. So anyways, every one of those guys that had signed up, I called each one of them on the phone, apologize from the bottom of my heart that unfortunately I had to, either they could move or I would gladly issue them a full refund. I only had one guy that I had to give a refund to. Everybody else was able to slide dates, fortunately. Well, one guy had to switch to the class in September. But the new dates, if you guys are interested, it is the first 7 days of April. Now, you don't have to come for the whole 7 days, but I know a lot of guys want to, you've come to classes before, you want to take the advanced course, or man, I'm only going to get one chance to go do training this whole year. 2023 is swamped. I want to take my vacation days at work and go just do one-stop shopping. So basically, we're doing a marathon of classes. It's going to be at the Range 35 Range Complex. You can fly into Dallas. It's a short drive from there. And you can pull around Range 35. The 1st of April is Combat Pistol 101. The 2nd and 3rd of April are Combat Pistol Carbine. Then the 4th is a course we call Carbine Zero Mastery. You're going to get out as far as the range will get us. You don't have to bring a special gun. I want you to do this with that same red dot that you would have at any other class. But instead of you only doing pew-pew at 7 meters, a couple rounds at 25, we're going to stretch that gun out as far as you can go. The 5th and 6th is our advanced pistol carbine course. And then the 7th of April, again, just the tests. So if you want to get in on some of this, maybe you've taken our pistol carbine course before, you just want to come take the advanced course, or you want to do Carbine Zero Mastery, which you'd be surprised how many people have never really gotten good data on their work gun. You got a red dot on it. This is your shorty that you're always, man, I can take it with me everywhere I go in the truck. All right, how far have you actually stretched this thing out at? And without a magnifier on the gun, with my EOTech on it, or my primary arms 1X micro prism, guys, I can easily get out, even without the magnifier. You get out to 400 meters easy. So anyways, that's in Texas, 1 through 7 April. You can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com. Here's the bonus for the Texas class. I mentioned that my Patreon, my patrons had done our Patreon course there. That was one of the ranges that we used, one of the ranges. We went down to Tiger Valley, a couple of places. But the cool part is we stayed at this place called Beaumont Ranch. And Beaumont Ranch is basically a Beaumont Ranch it's like an old cowboy town, but it's all been done up. It's a place they do like big weddings at. But instead of you staying in a lodge room, they've got the old cowboy town, and you go into like the general store. You use your key, and when you go in, it's a king size bed. You go into the jail, you open up the door to the jail, and it's got 2 queen size beds or whatever. I mean, they got different cabins and lodges and all through that. It's totally badass. It's awesome. They got a bar there and all these pavilions and everything. Our Patreon course was awesome, right? Here's the added bonus for these classes in April, 1 through 7 April, because one of the things that sucks about, let's say you wanted to take 7 days of training, guys, that's 8 days in a hotel. And outside of Dallas, a hotel room, that's $150 to $300, depending on what kind of hotel you stay at. So we reached back out. Thank you, Susan. We reached back out to Beaumont Ranch, which is only like 10 minutes away from Range 35. Now, remember, this is a cowboy town where they do big like wedding events and private, but they have a bunkhouse there. And the bunkhouse, it's got like 8 rooms inside with so many bunks in each room. And anyways, it's a nice bunker. That's where I put all the tactical rifleman instructors during the Patreon course. Well, I'm like, hey, I'm not bringing 60 people. I'm only going to have 15, max 15 students and a couple of instructors. Will they let me rent the bunkhouse? And I got email back today. They said yes. So here's the deal. If you want to come take those classes in Texas with us, one, I'd love to have you. It's going to be a great course. Emery's come in. We're going to have a couple other instructors there. It's going to be awesome, awesome, awesome. But Beaumont Ranch is letting us rent they're letting us rent the bunkhouse for $45 a night instead of $150 for a hotel room with your, crappy room, a Red Roof Inn or something, $150, $170 with all the added fees. $45 a night, you get to stay in the bunkhouse with me and Emery and my other instructors. And we'll hang out at night. We'll have a good time. And that $45 a night. Here's the cool part. If let's say you come to take 4 days, you come the night prior, that's 5 days at $150 a night. Now you go down to $45 a night. You got enough money. You can do a couple extra classes and hang out with us even more. So anyways, I'm excited about it. I really am. I'm excited. I hope that some of you guys will take me up on it. And I see we got Karen here, Karen Harrison. She was at the Patreon course. Her, Susan, a bunch of the guys, they were, Karen brought her husband, Susan brought her husband, and I brought my wife. I think we had 10 couples there, a bunch of other guys, G, and a bunch of other patrons were there. We had a great, great time. They will all vouch for it, that the Beaumont Ranch is an awesome place to stay, and they can vouch for that Range 35. We did our flat range pre-day there, but we also did our helicopter shooting there. So anyways, if you're interested in signing up, and I hope that you guys are, again, if If you want to take classes early March, that's right around the corner. Sign up tacticalrifleman.com. Those classes are going to be in Clarksville, Tennessee, and that's going to be great training. If you want to wait till April, sign up early, but it's the first 7 days in April 1 through 7, Combat Pistol 101, Combat Pistol Carbine, Carbine Zero Mastery, Advanced Pistol Carbine, and Just the Tests. Right, Just the Tests is a new course that it's basically going to be just me. It's going to be me. I might keep Emery around as an assistant if I have enough people sign up for it, but the way it's looking right now, it's going to be me, maybe 3 or 4 of you guys that already know all the tests. You've already practiced them. You've done great. And guys, if you've not been to my classes, I demonstrate all the drills. I demonstrate everything. I'm a big believer in, understand, I will not pretend to be as good as I was back when I was in my old hostage rescue unit. I'm not, nowhere near. But if I'm going to ask you guys to do a time standard, I need to be able to do that also. So I miss a couple times a day, or at least once a course. I'll miss at least once a course just to prove to you guys that I'm not to prove to you guys that I'm mortal. I am. I miss. You guys see me show misses in videos. You do. I'm not scared to show that. So anyways, if you want to hang out with us in April, I would love to have you guys sign up, especially for the April ones in Texas. That's a long way for me to travel, guys, and I really want you guys to come hang out with us. Please come hang out with us. It's going to be a good time. You know, I really haven't had that many people sign up for classes so far this year, and I understand the economy sucks, and everybody's got a bunch of stuff going on, and I've got a ton of stuff go on in my life, and I'm not going to vent on you guys, but I got a lot of stuff going on in my private life right now, and because of that, a lot of things have fallen off the radar. That's why I'm trying to play catch up, promoting courses. My son's going to be back in a couple of days. He's filming, and when he comes back, I got to film some marketing videos to help promote our courses. I've gotten way behind on this. But yeah, I would love you guys to come hang out with us at a class. You understand there's nothing good coming in on the horizon, guys. Biden is not your savior. He's not. Biden is so not your savior. The Chinese are so not going to back down. And are we going to fight the Chinese anytime soon? Nope, not at all. But you look at all the post-apocalyptic books out there, and there's one called The Patriots. It's the whole Rosalian groups. They do that. That one starts off with financial collapse in the U.S. Okay. But almost all of them start off with an EMP. An EMP, very unlikely, right? Very unlikely. It's also worst case scenario. Only 2 ways to do an EMP, guys. Only 2 ways. Because they're not going to get a plane to deliver an EMP. You understand? China, Russia, they're not going to be able to get a plane over the center. They're just of the U.S. They're not going to be able to get it over Kansas. Can't get a plane that close. So how do you do it? ICBM, right? Like North Korea just launched. Or, you understand what I'm saying? It's got to be a missile. Or you could do it with a high-altitude balloon. I'm just saying. So anyways, guys, you need to tighten up your shot groups. And that's not just shooting. Make sure your family's in order. Make sure your soul's in order. Me and my wife, for example, right before the live stream, I apologize, I forgot we were having a live stream tonight. And that's why everything is jackassery to start off with. We were, what did we pull out, honey? We just got, we got chicken fajita strips out of our Harvest Right freeze dry, we need 5 trays of seasoned chicken fajitas already cooked, and put them in the Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, everything freeze dried. We got a freeze dryer, and right now while we speak, it takes 2 hours to defrost it when you're done. But right after the live stream, we're going to put 5 more trays of food back into our Harvest Right freeze dryer. And I'm not saying I'm not saying you guys got to go get a Harvest Right freeze dryer, not at all. But I'm saying you need to look in the mirror and decide, is your family ready? And you can pull up all your basics of survival. When you guys think survival, the way I used to think survival was, if my helicopter or my plane got shot down overseas, combat zone, I needed to be able to survive behind enemy lines until I could get to friendly lines. So I needed to be able to do hide sites for shelters. I needed to be able to find food and cook food without giving off any smoke or any heat signature that a drone could see. I need to be able to procure and treat water, right? So to me, that was always survival. But I'm not in the military now. But I want you guys to step back, and all the basics of survival. Air, you can only go for so long without air, right? No shit, Carl. We've all got air. Yeah, but tell that to the guys in Ohio right now, right? And you can go so long without shelter. Well, Carl, think about that now, because if you're out in a blizzard and it's freezing rain, not snow, but actually freezing rain, and you don't have a jacket, your vehicle flipped or you fell out of the back of the pickup truck because you were drunk, and your buddies drive off and leave you, and you're in shorts and a t-shirt in freezing rain, you've basically only got 3 minutes to find some shelter, or you're not going to last very long, 3 hours basically to find shelter. And then you can go so long without water, right? And then so long without food. You've got to have fire. You got to have all this other stuff. That's fine. But now look at it, your family, where you live. If something, whatever it is, if martial law breaks down or whatever, you need to have your ducks in a row. So pull up some of our older videos on survival basics, and all they are is just checklists. And food. FEMA says you need to have 1 to 2 weeks of food on hand in case there's a run on the stores, right? And you guys all saw the runs on the store at the start of COVID. Now, COVID was not the planet killer that they said it might be. But you understand, instead of saying, well, it was nothing, say, it wasn't a planet killer, it was a rehearsal. And that's how I want you to look at it. What did your family have a hard time getting? Right? Because there's a big run on toilet paper, of all things. Toilet paper. I don't worry about toilet paper. We have toilet paper, but eventually you're going to run out. So how do you deal with that, Carl? I've got a couple of boxes that, and it's just boxes. You get them out. They're on the shelf in the workshop, and it's a bidet. You can hook up to the side of the toilet. Works great, works over in the Middle East just fine for me. It'll work here. I'm just using that as an example. But have ways that you can store water, have ways that you can store food, do this, do that. I'm not big on 2 weeks of anything. That's FEMA. They just want you to have something. But get 2 weeks. Be able to check the blocks for 2 weeks. And after you can do 2 weeks, I then want you to do 2 months to be able to take care of your family. And then when you can do 2 months, I then want you to do 4 months, right? And about the time you get to where you've got 4 months of stuff, your blinders come off and you start realizing, I don't have all the medical supplies that I need. I don't have this. I don't have that. And you enter this new world of, and I'm not saying you guys need to become full-blown preppers, not at all. I just want you to start thinking about the dark clouds on the horizon. That's all I'm going to say. my family, for example, and I love that my wife, she takes this very serious. We have 17 people on our hill. The hill I live now, they're not 17 people living here right now, but my daughter's going to come here from Nashville, right? I have family members coming to the hill, so it's not just me and my wife feeding me and my wife. We've got 17 people, 17 mouths to feed, and that quickly becomes a lot more servings of food than you think it is, a lot more gallons of water. So anyways, keep it in mind. That's all I can say. Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Good stuff. Right. Susan saying, you are so behind. Quit yelling at me, devil woman. All right. I'm trying. All right. What are your thoughts on a low power variable optic on a 12.5-inch AR? Looking forward to Emery's gun runner pistol in May. A low power variable optic, guys, is great because you can dial it all the way down to 1x, and then you can dial it. In this case, this is an 8x. You can dial it all the way up to 8x. So it allows you to reach out. Now, that's a lot of weight to put on a gun, and it does not work as good as just doesn't work as good as the EOTech. EOTech inside the house, even on 1 power, this will never, ever, ever be as good as this. And it's not the weight. It's not just the weight. You have to have perfect eye relief and perfect eye alignment of that pupil. You don't. EOTech, you put that eye anywhere, and EOTechs are tough, guys. EOTechs are tough. So they are. EOTechs are badass. So if you want to run an EOTech with a magnifier behind it, you can. And that gives you a magnification. I recommend you get if you're going to run a magnifier, get one with a quick on-off mount, and keep this in your day pack or on your gun belt because it adds weight to the gun you don't need. If you want to run in other words, like a throw lever like that, if you want to run a low power variable optic, and I would on a 308 for sure, it's okay on 1X. It does okay, but it really, really excels at 300-400 meters. It is much more badass at that distance. That is some good coffee, guys. Damn, that's some good coffee. All right, I'm trying to get caught up. I am. Wow, I guess I really am falling behind. All right, let's see. All right, next one, guys. I do get all your questions. I do. Sammy313, Carl, have you ever stippled your Glock, or do you leave them as they are? Thank you, sir. When I retired from my old SIF company for 5th Group, I retired as company sergeant major for that company. When I retired, my unit got me a Glock 35, and they put the unit logo in it. They stippled it. They cut that thing all up. They put the SF crest on the slide and everything. Beautiful, beautiful gun. Other than that, I don't have any stippled guns. I don't. A Gen 3 could probably use some stippling to it. My problem, though, is my work guns, I really don't need it because now my work guns are all Gen 5s. The Gen 5s have great grips on them. I don't stipple a Gen 5. And my EDC pistol, which is a Gen 3 Glock, I don't want that stippled because it tears up your shirts. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I got to call bullshit. And you obviously don't carry enough, because I have shirts that have literally been worn on the inside so tight, because when you've got that, right, it prints just a little bit, but every time you move, it's that butt of that pistol is rubbing on the inside of your t-shirt. And that does two things. One, it wears out the t-shirt. It rubs all the hair off of your belly. But the other thing it does, especially if you're running an open emitter, that grip on that pistol going back and forth like this, all that, what is lint? Think about it. What is lint in the dryer? That's all little bits of fabric coming off all your clothes. That's how lint is made, guys. Think of it as scratching your jeans with the side of your pocket knife. Your stippled grip rubbing the inside of your t-shirt or your silk button up you're wearing with a suit. Monkeys forget them on a live stream. What do you think? It actually will fill your optic up with lint. Emery, what's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing, man?
You just called because you wanted to interrupt the live stream? What you doing?
Oh, is it Tuesday? I didn't even know.
Oh, Emery forgot all about it. Hey, can you call me back in an hour?
Yep, no problem.
I'm sorry, I didn't pronounce that right. That was, can you call me back in an hour, comma, you asshole, question mark. Thanks a lot, Emery.
Okay, now I know we're good.
Yeah, man. Hey, I want to talk to you though. We got another class we got to get ready for, and we're filming next week. So I need you to come in and help me clean up the range. All right?
Yep.
Yeah. Give me a yell back in an hour after 9. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye. That's some rude ass stuff right there. Can you believe he did that? I believe it. It's no big deal. You guys, you gotta, you know the deal. You gotta cut Emery some slack. You really do. Wow, I'm falling behind. I'm sorry, guys. Wow, I'm falling behind. Where do you buy it? All right, hold on. All right, Richard Bowl. Hi, Carl. In your latest video, switching shoulders drill, your tier 1 has a device on the end for noise. What is it? Who makes it? Where do you buy it? Does it require an ATF suppressor stamp? All right, I don't think I have one here. Guys, my TR1's out in my Suburban right now. What it is my TR1s have, it'll come one of two ways. They set up to take a surefire suppressor. But they have, you have two choices. One is a flash hider, 3-prong flash hider called the War Comp. It actually has small holes for mitigating barrel rise. And then there's the SOCOM brake. But they're both threaded to take a surefire suppressor. Right. I'm a big fan of surefire suppressors. They make awesome ones. There's a reason why US SOCOM went with surefire suppressors. All right. My surefire suppressor is still in ATF prison. It's sitting in a gun vault down at ATS Tactical Gear, and I can't pick it up until my paperwork's done. Now, that little piece you saw covering my muzzle brake, what that is called a warden. And what it does is you guys know how bad a muzzle brake is, right? It's got the ports on the side and all the concussion, the sound goes to the side. And if you're standing next to a guy on the shooting range, that sucks. You know, it sucks. Well, when I mentioned I demonstrate all my drills. Well, I will stand back. If you guys are shooting at 5 meters, a lot of times I'll have you guys gather around and I'll stand back at 7 to do the drill so more people can see the sides, actually see what I'm doing instead of standing behind me. Without that warden, everybody would be getting hit by the blast, the sound. So I run that warden, and what it does is it focuses all that blast forward. It actually makes recoil worse than you not having anyone on the gun at all. Much worse. Now, that said, it doesn't matter. I can easily pass the drills, make the time. So I put that little thing on there not to look cool. I put it on there for you guys, for my students, because I don't want to beat the snot out of you with my muzzle brake. All right. So I do that for you guys. I do. I sincerely do. All right. Wow. Sorry, guys. I know. I'm behind. I'm trying to get caught up. All right. Cash me outside. For bomb-proof, be all end all upper for the long-range 308 in 308. What brand specs parts would you recommend for suppressed, sub, and supersonic 20-inch, or is 16-inch okay? 16 inch is fine. If you're on the fence, should I go with a 16-inch or should I go with a 20-inch? Go with the 18. It doesn't matter. The only difference between a 16-inch and 18-inch and a 20-inch is your muzzle velocity of the bullet. The faster your bullet's going, you're going to get a little more range with it. But I'll be honest, guys, I've never shot a human being past 461 meters. Now, I have knocked down the 1 mile target. You can go to dnlsports.com. They have a 1 mile club, and there was a little C-zone steel plate I knocked down at a mile. Whoop-de-doo, no big deal. It took me 4 rounds to hit it. I've never shot anybody at that distance. Never have. All my ops were in the dark, and that's not true. I've shot guys during the day too. But my furthest shot, 461 meters. Now, I know that doesn't sound impressive, but it was in the dark, and they were moving targets. And the cool part is I got 3 of them. The first one was actually a headshot, which sounds awesome. But the reality is I was aiming at the chest of the guy in front of him, and that guy stepped in front of the bullet, caught it in the head. The other 2 guys went to go pick him up, drag him up the stairs. I dropped the second guy, and then I got the 3rd guy a little bit after that. My point, though, is in combat, my job as a sniper was to support the assault force, but also to do a lot of combat in an urban area. And you need to be able to ID friend or foe. And a lot of times, guys, that's not 1,000 meters away. So I know SF guys that have shot, especially in Syria. They've got shots well past 1,000 meters now. Me personally, I have never shot a human being past at that distance. I just haven't done it. Don't think less of me. I mean, I guess you can if you want. I don't care. You understand? I'm so past caring what anybody thinks about me. Semper Paratus is back. How many rounds of 5.56 and 9mm would it take to go all 7 days? All right. Pistol plan. Combat pistol 101, plan 300 rounds of pistol. Pistol carbine, plan 100 rounds of pistol. 150 rounds of pistol, 300 rounds of rifle. Carbine Zero Mastery, 100 rounds of rifle. Advanced pistol carbine, 2 days is probably 200 rounds, 250 rounds of each. And then just the tests, we'll probably use 100 rounds, 200 rounds of each in that day. You're going to do a lot of shooting on that final day, a lot. There's no sharing war stories. There's no me having to teach each little. No, we're going to go, hey, I'm going to demonstrate it. You're going to do it for time. And then, hey, let's break it down. You're good at this part. You're not good at these other parts. Let's work on them. And as far as totals, I don't know. We try to limit our round counts, guys, and I know it's a lot of ammo. You'll find there are usually guys that show up and bring too much ammo. So if you run low, you can get it from the other guys in the class. A lot of times Emory brings ammo to sell. I don't know if I can't vouch for that. I don't know if Emory will be bringing ammo this class. Good question, though. Freedom Seeds for All. What do you think about the ammo situation in the future in the USA? Prices and availability concerning the war in Ukraine. The big run on ammo was when Trump was going to have the whole. And you guys know I love Trump. I do. But I love Trump because Trump wasn't a politician. To me, I would like to completely drain the swamp and put vets and doctors in there. That's what I want. All right. But Trump's an asshole. Trump's an asshole. He definitely doesn't know shit about politics. But if you remember back then, pre-COVID, all the Democrats were like, oh my God, we all got to buy guns. Obama was the best gun salesman of all time, outdone only by Trump, because everybody knew that they were going to basically, overthrow him, do martial law, and take all your guns. So you guys were all buying. And all the Democrats were like, oh my God, we're going to civil war. We all got to buy guns. Greatest gun salesman of all time. But you saw the price of ammo skyrocket. 9mm got to like 90 cents a round. Crazy. It did. It got high. I had to buy in bulk at the start of it because I knew I still need ammo for classes and everything. So anyways, ammo has come back down a lot. Is it going to go back up again? Yeah, it probably will. So whenever you find good deals on ammo, I encourage you to stock up. I really do. I encourage you guys to stock up on ammo. You've never heard, you understand, you need to spend time. You need to spend time with your family. So there's never been a guy on his deathbed, getting ready to pass away that says, I wish I spent less time with my wife and kids. So that's never been said. Spend time with your family. But there's also never been anybody on their deathbed that said, oh, I had way too much ammo. It's never been said. Not a single time ever. It's never been said, guys. Never. Nobody has ever said, man, I got too much ammo. Their wives might say they've got too much ammo, but it's never been said. Never been said by the actual individual. John Brady threw down 10 bones. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Came back with a question. Carl, my question is, I am planning to attend your class on zeroing the rifle. Is it limited to one rifle, or can I bring two? And where in Tennessee is that range? Do I have the wrong state? Thank you. If you're going to the Montgomery County Shooting Complex, you will want to stay in Clarksville, Tennessee, right off I-24 at either exit 4 or exit 8. I don't know which class you signed up for. If you're going to the one in Texas, then it's not in Tennessee. Right. But on the website, it should say where it's at. You can only bring one rifle, one. And an excellent question, because I have had guys that have showed up with no shit, like 4 guns. And I've had guys that show up without their optics even mounted on the gun. You understand, you were doing nothing but screwing the rest of the class in the ass. You're screwing them in the ass. Right. The whole point of the course is when you leave, you will have a gun that is zeroed and you will have data on your gun. But that's not the point of the course. The point of the course, the knowledge. So then when you go home, you can take any of your guns and you can take it out to your range. You can zero your gun and you can gather data on your gun, no matter what caliber it is, no matter what kind of optic, length barrel, anything. Does not matter. The point is for you to learn how to properly do it when you go. Our whole reason for putting the Carbine Zero Mastery together is we'd have guys that would show up for the advanced pistol carbine course. Now, these are guys that are supposed to be advanced. And right off the bat, we would do point blank zero out to 200 meters. And we had guys that could not hit a 6 foot by 4 foot piece of paper at 200 meters. Oh, Carl, I'm zeroed at 50, so I'm dead on at 200. Then you understand you just shot at a 200 meter piece of paper, and everybody else's shot group is this big at the middle of their target, and you missed the piece of paper. So our point is, it's not that they didn't zero, is a lot of people didn't, they really don't know how to properly zero. And so anyways, just bring one gun. If you bring two, I always travel with a spare. So bring a second one, but you're not going to have time. You're going to be shooting a group and moving, shooting a group moving. And yeah, we're going to get a lot of shooting in, a lot of shooting groups and tightening up your shot groups and learning the fundamentals of rifle marksmanship and how to properly zero that blaster. All right, so far behind. Yes, Susan. I'm trying. I am trying. Renegade Arms, a.k.a. Eric, threw down $10. Thank you for your time and knowledge. Brother, I do appreciate that. John Brady threw down 10 bones. Cash Me Outside's back again. Have you done a video on cooking without a signature? If not, that would be a good idea. It's called a Dakota stove, guys. And basically you do it in your hide site, preferably under a lot of thick tree cover. Thermal sights are not as sexy as people think they are. If you're giving off a lot of smoke and a big fire to heat a bunch of people, yeah, that smoke will still be warm by the time it clears the trees. But if you've got thick tree cover, branches, they're not going to see you with thermals. They're not. Guys, I know in the movies, thermals can see through walls and through roofs of buildings, and you understand that's not real life. Thermals won't even look through the windshield of your car. You can't drive wearing thermals. You can drive wearing a Gen 3 PVS 14 all day long. It's a blast on the highway. But there are lots of videos about using a Dakota stove. Yeah, I guess we could do a video like that. We could do that. We could do that. Salad dressing threw down 10 bones. Was thinking a second EOTech or a helmet. Chose the brain bucket. Hard-headed veterans for the true middle-class option. Given Ohio, is this a prime example? Given Ohio, is this a prime example for gas mask? Yes. Guys, I'm not a nutbag. Guys, you understand, I keep things within arm's reach. There's a company that makes gas masks that's called Mirror Safety. This is not a Army surplus mask. This is a no-shit military issue mask. It's for one of the nations in Europe, but it is not military surplus. What I mean by military surplus is if you buy a gas mask at let's say a gun show, it's one of two things. One, it was stolen from a Joe out in the field and then sold at a pawn shop, and then it's good. Okay. But the flip side of that is military equipment has a service life, and it's only so many years. And after that so many years, the Army gets rid of all of it. They send it all to DRMO, and it all gets auctioned off, basically for pennies on the dial. All these military surplus places buy it in bulk. They go through it, and they sell tents and poncho liners and jackets and uniforms and boots and everything. Your jacket may be wore out, but gas masks, if it was worn a lot, and remember the rubber dry rotted everything. I'm not big on military surplus gas mask. So that's why I like mirror safety. No kickbacks, no nothing, guys. I'm big on mirror safety because their stuff is brand new and their filters are brand new. You can get all kinds of different filters for their stuff. I've got a video I'm wanting to do about gas masks. I know I owe you guys that, and but again, I know I'm behind. Yes, guys, I know I'm behind. Annalise and Kyle threw down 10 bones. Thank you. A couple of my patrons. Philip Wilson, Carl, do you paint any of your guns? Yeah, I used to paint all my guns. My SR-25, God, I wish I had a good picture of it. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is me right here. Guys, that SR-25 is painted with finger paint. That's exactly what that is. Yeah, I know that's my porn stash. Don't make fun of my porn stash. But this is all initial coats of spray paint, and then I finger paint it. That's just what I do. Now, I have one thing I will say is I haven't painted guns here lately. I am going to paint a gun, and here's why. One, I got to paint my Barrett because if we go to war, I need to have a camouflage Barrett for killing armored vehicles. Some good coffee right there. But no, seriously though, I'm going to multi-cam a gun. And but my main reason for getting the stencils, I don't have them here right now, is I'm gonna multicam. I got a couple black holsters that I want to multicam, and Primary Arms makes the stencil, and then the guy Dimitri, I don't remember his last name. Anyways, Dimitri from Primary Arms, he's got some great YouTube videos on how to do multicam. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try it. Just rattle can, nothing crazy. But yeah, I like to have everything camouflage, without a doubt. All right, yes. Joe asked, Carl, 2 questions. What light are you running on your G19 and what grain Lehigh defense ammo are you using? My G19, it's a Surefire X300V on my work gun. My EDC one, I'm running, it is called a Mini Valkyrie 2. It is a old Olight. I know everybody bashes Olights because they're made in China. Everything's made in China, and the Olight headquarters is actually in Taiwan. Everybody bashes Olight, but I'll tell you what, I started running that little light, and I said I'm going to keep running it until I break it. And I was hoping it would make it 6 months, and I'm on 3 years now. It still hasn't died. Same one. So as far as ammo, trying to see if I got any of it on the table here. Let me show you what I'm running. I got a ton of it. I got a ton of this stuff. A ton of ammo. Where is it at? Where is that new good stuff at? I got 2 new cases of this stuff because I believe in practicing from time to time with your duty ammo. But this is what I'm running in my work gun, guys, or my EDC carry. It's not Lehigh Defense. It's actually made by G9. And it is the external hollow point 80 grain, 1480 feet per second. It's basically a plus P round, and it has an external hollow point on it. And in other words, you don't have to worry about the hollow point filling up with jean jackets, drywall, whatever. It does great against windshields, stuff like that. G9. I used to run Barnes TAC XPD, which is good ammo. It is. It was good. I ran it for the longest time because we had shot human cadavers with it, and it did better than all the critical duty and golden sabers and everything else. It outshot everything. But then G9's like, bet, Carl, we'll take that challenge. And they sent me a bunch of it, and you can pull up those videos in our video archive. But G9's got a bunch of good stuff. They've got a bunch of barrier blind 5.56. They've got some good barrier blind 308 ammo now also. I owe you guys a bunch of these videos, don't I? I really, really do. All right. Already did that one. The problem, guys, every time my phone turns off, I got to restart my list again here. All right. Random American threw down 20 bones for the Carl Erickson Preservation Fund. I appreciate that. Random, I appreciate that. Karen, how is Sue doing? Sue, those of you that know my good buddy Sue LaRue, me and Sue were actually doing a live fire stalk the day that the towers fell. We were both in the same SIF company. We were on the same A team. Sue is good people, total nutbag. Sue, we were on our way back from SHOT Show. They were driving back. Emery and Sue were driving back. Sue had a heart attack. They went to the local hospital, and they confirmed it. Yes, you did have a heart attack. He made it home. He lives in North Carolina and up in the mountains there. And part of his follow-up for his heart attack was they did a chest X-ray. And because they ran a catheter looking for blockages in his heart, they couldn't find it. They were worried about, did the clot break loose and maybe go into his lungs or something. So they did a chest X-ray on him, and on the chest X-ray, they found a tumor about the size of a golf ball. So they did a biopsy, and the last word we got is Sue is still waiting to hear back the results of his biopsy. And he's in good spirits. He's still good to go. He's planning on coming down to film some more TR videos next week. It's going to be awesome. Or it won't. All right. Philip Wilson threw down 5 bones. Do you paint guns? If so, pistols, rifles, or both? I've never painted a pistol. I have painted every rifle that we had overseas. Barretts used to come black. Always painted my Barrett. My SR-25 always came black. Always painted that. We never really painted our M4s until the towers fell, and then we're getting ready to go to Afghanistan. We did the initial invasion of Afghanistan. Yeah, we painted our M4s then. Next question, Wesley Durst, $10. Had some guys say there's no reason to have backup iron sights on a combat pistol. I asked where they would do if the optic failed. They said you should practice enough to point shoot. Is this correct? Don't you love people like that? Right? Point shooting, and there are people that say you don't need sights at all. You should just be point shooting. I actually watched a guy. He was bragging about how he took the rear sight off of his gun because you don't need it. You just point with your front sight. Really? So you're going to just take your front sight off. Okay. All right. But he thought he was being cool. He thought he was the new hotness. All right. But there are actually schools out there that do point shooting. Now, understand these point shooters will tell you that statistically speaking, most pistol gunfights, happen within like 5 meters or 3 meters. You're inside the room with the guy, and it's so fast, you don't have time to aim. You're just basically point shooting. Okay, that's their argument. And they'll tell you that out to 7 meters, they are faster point shooting and they're just as accurate as you are using your sights. Here's the problem with that. One, it has been shown that using your sights, if you practice correctly, is not slower because you're still aiming with your body. You're confirming with the sights on the gun. All right. But they're saying out to 7 meters, they're faster. Well, what does a point shooter do if that guy is at 10 meters? Do they all of a sudden start looking for their sights? Because they've never practiced to use them because all they do is point shooting. So my argument against point shooting is, guys, I can take my iron sights and I can one-handed hit at 70 meters with my pistol. And then I can switch to my support hand and one-handed hit at 80 meters. And then I'll go back and switch back to strong hand at 90 and then at 100. Randy Sunday, every Sunday, 2 p.m., we did Final Five, and Randy was out at the 100-meter line, and we were doing one-handed, switching every 10 yards back. My point and I'm not bragging, guys, but my point is these guys that say, oh, you don't need iron sights. If your red dot dies, you're just going to point shoot. All right, now what about when you're pinned down in the parking lot with your wife behind you crying, and it's 20 meters to the other car where the gangbangers are behind the car, and your red dot's dead? What are you going to do? You're going to just make noise and point shoot? How many spare magazines do they carry? My reason for saying this is, dude, don't get sucked into the latest hotness that these guys are arguing. Sometimes you just need to, if it's something new, slap it right in the face with common sense. And if it doesn't pass the common sense smell test, then it's the turd that it really is. Just because other people are doing it doesn't mean it's right. There are SEALs right now at their schoolhouse that are teaching. They just put their M4s on semi and they leave them there. What? No. But that's the latest hotness for them. They think they're cool. Understand, it was the latest hotness 20 years ago. It was the latest hotness 25 years ago to just put your M4 onto, or at the time your M16A2, put it on semi and leave it there because this is my safety. No, that's total bullshit. Total bullshit. There's a reason why all adult units went back to keeping the gun on safe until you have a target that warrants deadly force. And the time it takes you to move your trigger from outside the trigger well to the trigger takes even less time to rotate that selector lever down with your thumb. Even less time. Before you get those sights up, you've already manipulated the safety. And same thing with these guys. Don't sweat them, man. Just smile and laugh at them and go, oh, I'm sorry. You're doing the latest hotness. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm training for combat. You're training to be cool. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. Victor is here with a question. What kind of tactical pants do you wear? In my old unit, we wore Cry Precision pants. I want to say they're like $360 a pair. Crazy. But they're made by Cry Precision. That's what we ran ops in. Now as an instructor, I'll wear Cools. I'm wearing Cools right now. These are fire hose pants. Fire hose. I got my pocket for my phone, pocket for my spare magazine. I actually got a tourniquet in it right now because I was just out running the chainsaw. But they're tough pants. I run True Spec pants, are good pants for just playing out in the woods. Another company's pants I wear are True Timber. They're a company that makes a couple really cool camouflage patterns that are the latest craze right now. But if you go to truetimber.com, and you can buy their stuff in like Bass Pro and everything, but they actually make some really good pants, lightweight, pant. They're more for hunters and stuff, but that's good enough for me. When I go to a high-risk travel course, sometimes I'll wear slacks and a nice button shirt. When I travel, a lot of times I'm in a suit, and I don't get hung up on clothing too much. True Spec makes really good pants for the price, and I want to say they're $100 a pair instead of $300 a pair. There's a Polish company that Emery likes, and then there's a Greek company that makes sexy tactical pants also. I apologize, I don't know the names, guys. All right. Susan is saying, did you cover the one about how many rounds for 7 days of classes in April? Yes, Susan, we did cover that. Susan drifts off from time to time. Don't be too hard on Susan, guys. Don't be too hard on her. All right. We did cover it. Tactical pants. John A is back. Carl, what is your take on rely camo on thermal camouflage, and what is your take on ATAX FG? Do you have pointers on how to take care of your feet during shit hits the fan? All right, guys, there's no magic material out there that will help you defeat thermal. All right. They started coming up with thermal ghillie suits 30 years ago, and they didn't work. Anybody that has a special thermal jacket they can put on, that's fine. When you first put it on, it's fine and you're hidden. The problem, though, is as soon as you're moving, you're generating body heat. It becomes like a fur coat, and it in turn starts to distribute your heat out. It does. Now, a lot of the way that they will try to hide it is they make it kind of like a space blanket that is reflecting the heat in on you, which in turn, then your body is overheating, and then you start unzipping it. And after a while, even wearing a jacket completely made out of a space blanket, still heats on the outside. It does. So a lot of the Gucci flage stuff that I see people on the internet talking about, would they be good for short-term periods? Yes. Anything that breathes will work like that. Yes. The best way to defeat thermals is tactics. And if you don't believe me, have your buddy spend the $300 getting your Gucci flage thermal jacket that will hide, right? You have somebody get out there with a thermal. You have him put on his thermal Gucci flage jacket, and then right at the last minute, you grab a space blanket, you know, the cheap emergency space blanket. You hold it by two corners, and right before they turn on their thermal, you just hold it up so that you've got a big rectangle of space blanket in front of you. And you're going to find that he's going to show more than you. You can make yours even better by taking like gold and copper and gray and green spray paint. And you notice I started off with metallic colors because you're spray painting that silver space blanket with different colors, and you're now camouflaging it, because even though they're shiny, if somebody was to hit you with an IR light, it would reflect like a mirror. As far as reflecting the ambient heat in the air, it's going to break up the pattern. It's not going to look like a rectangle. It's not going to look like a space blanket anymore. Serious as a heart attack. All right. As far as his second question, taking care of your feet, guys, SF selection. I saw guys in Special Forces selection that were cutting open their boots because their feet were swelling so bad that they had to cut holes in the boots to let the swelling out. And you're walking on sand, like beach sand roads. So all that sand gets in there, and their tan desert boots were like rust colored with all the blood, and they're wrapping them up with duct tape and everything. And I didn't get blister one, not even on the 25 miler. I think that's like second to the last day, the 25 mile, 28 miler, whatever it was. I don't even remember. I didn't get a blister because I take care of my feet. Now, how you do that is bring lots of socks. But the other thing you do is you have to know your feet, right? Right before I went to selection, and I had the bottom of my feet were tough, guys. They were tough because I was in a recon team in the 101st, and all we did was walk. So I had tough feet. My boots were broken in. The problem, though, was right before I went to selection, we were, again, my scout team, we had an 18-day field problem, and my hide site got rolled up on day 2. My rucksack, I had to live out of my LBE with my little squad radio, my butt pack, for basically the last 13 days of it. I lived out of my LBE, my load-bearing equipment. It rained cats and dogs. My feet stayed wet the entire time. I caught trench foot. I had just fungal infection on my feet was so bad. All the calluses on the bottom of my feet sloughed off. When I went to selection, I had baby feet, no callus at all. Baby feet. I was going to be screwed, completely screwed. But I knew that if I did a 12-mile road march, that the pad of my foot right there and on my heel, on the back of my foot, were where I would get hot spots. So I brought a whole roll of moleskin with me. And before I even went out to start the day, I would cut the correct shape for that foot. I would cut the correct shape for this foot. I'd cut 4 shapes, one for the bottom of the heel of each foot, and then one to wrap around the back of my foot. And I cut those 6 pieces of moleskin every morning, put them on before we went out to do dayland nav. And then I had my roll of moleskin with my petticut. I knew what shape to cut them. I'd cut another set before nightland nav, and I'd swap them out on my feet. Keep your feet dry, and take care of your hot spots before they turn into blisters. And but you got to know your feet. Here's another trick is if you're going to carry a second pair of boots, carry them one complete size too big. And here's why everybody should have that in your inventory. Hiking boots, Merrells, Salmons, whatever you've got, Loas. You should have comfortable, well-broken hiking boots. You're all tracking with me, right? Nod your head. You should also have them for in the wintertime when you're wearing thick socks, thick wool socks, right? Nod your head, right? Thicker socks, you need to have more room. You don't want the socks to compress your feet too much. So you need to own hiking boots or combat boots that are one size too big for when you have thick socks on. When I went to selection, I brought that extra set of jungle boots with me that were one size too big. And the reason why I did that is I knew my feet were going to swell. You're doing hundreds and hundreds of miles. It's like 12 kilometers of dayland nav during the day, and then 12 kilometers of nightland nav at night, and then the 12-mile road marches and all this and the running and everything. Your feet are going to swell up. So, anyways, that's a couple tips for you. All right. Susan, I believe I'm all caught up. All right. Yeah, take care of your feet, guys. If you watch my video on my go bag, I'm not big on bug out bag. I just call it my red bag of woe, and it's a rust colored bag, and it's made by Xterra. No, it's Vertex. It's Vertex. My bag is made by Vertex. There's a video. You can find it in our video archive, and in the spring, I swap it out to just summertime stuff. I'll put the solar panel back in it because there's sunshine a lot. In the wintertime, I swap certain things out and I put other stuff in. It's a little heavier in the winter. All right. But it always has a PVS 14 in it. It always has this and it always has that. Again, it's like an hour or something long video. I get into all those details, guys. But one thing that will always be in there is stuck right in the outside is a old pair of basically last year's hiking boots. I have to run low top hiking shoes because I've got an Achilles tendon injury from doing combatives. A guy did a ankle bar on me, and an ankle bar does not hurt at all until you're at the point where you're actually doing physical damage to the person. And I've had it done to me too many times. So anyways, I can't wear high top boots. So if I'm going to go through brush and brambles and thorns and stuff, one of the other things I keep in that bag is actual set of gaiters to keep all the little thorns out of my, basically my shoes. But last year's shoes go on the outside, and those shoes are stuffed with not just a pair of socks, but it's also stuffed with what I call pocket litter. So if I'm in, let's say me and the wife are driving home from a wedding, and I'm in silk pants with a silk shirt, of course I'll have a pistol and I'll have a knife in it, but I don't have all my extra stuff stuck in every pocket. That pair of shoes has got like a Leatherman. It's got a compass. It's got this. It's got that stuck in there so that if I had to, I could refill my pockets. Would I want to do end of the world as we know it, wearing silk pants? Of course not. But if that's what you got on, that's what you got on. But you got to have good shoes. Guys, you know what that means? It means it's almost time to wrap up this live stream here. All right. Yes. Susan's got to leave at 2-hour mark, guys. So real quick, I got one more that came in from MOC during shit hits the fan. There will be many bugging out to their bug out locations. How can the different people bugging out identify friend from foe while in movement? You can't unless they're part of your group and you've established certain SOPs. That said, you're never going to be able to stay away from everybody. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to come up with a way of where you're making the decision. You see a couple guys come by, like, those guys look a lot. They look like they're doing the same thing I'm doing. Or talk to people without you letting them know all the good stuff that you've got stashed, and then feel them out. Maybe they are like-minded, good Americans. Maybe they're not. Not everybody's going to be good. There's a lot of people who's serious as a heart attack. Their plan when shit hits the fan is take their guns and their ammo and go take other people's stuff. One, I don't believe that's a good Christian thing to do, number one. And two, it might work for you the first couple of times, but eventually you're going to come up on a house and they're not going to play and you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Be careful going to those houses. Do they have sectors of fire stakes marked out in the yard? Do they have thermals? Do they have all this other stuff? Do they have a good auxiliary, the neighborhoods around them? Is there a Green Beret retired living up on that hill? So, you're going to have to play it out. Guys, you guys hear me talk about Angry American. His name's Chris Weatherman, the author. Chris is an awesome guy. He's a good friend of mine. And I'm not saying that you need to read every set of post-apocalyptic books out there and everything is accurate. Not everything is accurate. I like the Roslin series, The Patriots, and I like Angry American series because both of those guys, and they don't get along. Roslin and Weatherman do not get along at all. They have different takes on survival. That doesn't mean I have to pick sides, does it? It does not. It means I can learn from both of them. And I encourage you guys to do that. Always try to learn from as many different people as possible. So if you've not read the Chris Weatherman's series, it's called the Home series. The first book is Going Home. EMP Morgan is the head character. Basically, Morgan walks home, and at the end of the book, he actually makes it home. The whole book is him on the road, and Chris is very good about showing how certain equipment works, certain equipment doesn't, and he tries to show everything that can go wrong is actually going to go wrong. And there's a couple places in there where Morgan has to make decisions about different people. He ends up bringing a female into his group. Him and the female will walk, and then they bring this big monster black guy named Vlad. And Vlad and Morgan hit it off great. The girl's pissed off that Morgan is inviting this guy to come with them because she don't trust him. Turns out Vlad is awesome. Anyways, it's a good series of books for two reasons. One, Chris keeps the information very accurate, but two, he's a good writer, so it's entertaining. It's not just dry. It's not a dry SAS survival manual. All right, guys, we're rolling up here on our 2-hour mark. So, it is what it is. Again, I want to remind you guys, all of our classes are up for sale. If you're interested in checking out the calendar for training, go to tacticalrifleman.com. But the two, if you guys can get the time off, I would love to see you second week of March. That is 6 through 9 March here in Tennessee. Great class. If you can't make that, the first 7 days in April, we're going to be down in Texas. We're going to be staying at Beaumont Ranch. $45 a night. You're not going to be able to beat that for lodging. And then the range is only 10 minutes away. Range 35, 7 days straight classes. If you want to, and there'll be people that come and take all 7 days. For example, Susan Britcher did it last year. She came and she actually took 8 days of classes straight because there was a medical class. No, she didn't take the medical class. She didn't show up till afterwards. I don't remember. Anyway, she did. I want to say she did 6 days straight classes. It's a bunch of great stuff. We don't have a medical class going on in Texas this time because I want Travis to get healed up. But all the other classes, pistol carbine, carbine zero mastery, advanced pistol carbine, and just the tests, 1 through 7 April. Again, you can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com. And all right. And if you like new shirts, not this one, you want a shirt like this that has Tactical Precision Rifle 101 on the back, you got to come take one of my classes. You come take a class, you get a t-shirt with the class name on it. But if you want cool t-shirts, check out this week's sponsor. That's Battle Cat Company. They've got awesome t-shirts, hats, patches, stickers. Basically, this guy makes cool logos, and he's got some pretty badass ones. Santa Claus wearing nods and stuff. He sees you when you're sleeping. He's got a bunch of cool stuff, and it's a one-man show. Battle Cat Company. He's got free shipping on orders over $75. Think of it like grunt style, but different. So if you want something that not everybody else is wearing at the gym, check them out, battlecat.com. Good stuff. I got a link I'll put down in the description under the video so that you guys got that same. So he'll know that I sent you there. That's about it. All right, guys, that's all I got for this week. Big shout out again to my moderators, for all my patrons out there. If you are a Silver Star patron, Saturday night, that's this Saturday coming up, we are going to do our Zoom live stream. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, patreon.com/tactical rifleman. We do once a month, we do a Zoom live stream. It's not just you looking at me. You guys get to see each other, talk to each other. Picture the Brady Bunch, but with like 20 people there. It's always a good time. Karen and Toby are always there. Jerry J's there sometimes. Susan's always there. You get a bunch of other patrons that you guys are hanging out here. You want to see Susan. You want to see Karen. You want to see Jerry J. You want to see Erica Hodstetler, Patty, all the guys. Check it out. That's this Saturday Zoom live stream for my patrons. I'll see you guys there. That's all I got, gents. Next Tuesday will be first day of filming. Next Monday is my 31st wedding anniversary. And I'll be taking my wife out for a sexy dinner. And then Tuesday night, the following day, Tuesday, I'll see you guys right back here. I think my son will be here. So you'll be back. You'll have your pretty intro and videos and everything. Guys, I'm sorry I had to do tonight on just my laptop. It is what it is. Always great hanging out with you guys, though. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Y'all take care and shoot straight.